Hello, Brandon.
Hi, Christina.
Hi. I'm so happy to see you. It always makes me so happy to see your face.
I love these conversations. They are medicine for me, and I hope for anyone else who listens to them. But I actually will like listen back to our conversation like halfway through the month, and I find that, yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, we did say this was going to happen, and then I just forgot about it. So,
I'm so impressed that you listened back to them. I barely even listen to them when I edit them.
oh my gosh, no. So, shout outs to my future self who's listening to this in a couple weeks. You're doing great. Good for you, boo.
Wait, so updates July. How was it?
Updates July. How was it? Cancer season is without a doubt a nightmare for me always. I am not somebody who enjoys the summertime sadness.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I felt like as soon as we clicked into Leo season, it would be a relief. And it was because I was able to like dry out. But it's like the extremity of it. It's like if you have like a soppy, wet towel, you need to like put it out in the sun, and instead it just got put like right into the oven. So then the towel, like, does it get dry? Sure, but then it also gets like really crispy.
Yeah, it was like,
So
hello, Pluto. Hello, like hellfire.
feeling
The sun.
very crispy. I'm
Yeah.
feeling crispy.
That was
Yeah.
quite a full moon we had. Like, I was getting some serious reports back from clients and friends. I was like actually doing okay. My birthday is like July 21st. So I'm always like right at that like transition from moon season to sun season feels like my little special gateway, you know?
Seriously, I forgot. Happy belated, first of all.
Oh, thank you. I
And
turned
also, look
40.
at you. Ah, a little solstice baby.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
I'm I am officially 40. I was
Are you an anoretic degree Cancer Sun?
almost I'm like 28.4 or something, like very close, but not quite.
Wow, that's so wild because that is literally the degree of Angel's moon. He's 28 degree Cancer moon.
Yeah, clearly you've got a talking to astrology karma with 28 degrees of Cancer.
I guess so. I guess so. That is interesting. Oh, you know what? I'm just realizing for the first time. Good job, Brandon. It trines my Saturn. My Saturn's at 27 Scorpio.
Ah, uh-huh, uh-huh.
But my Capricorn moon really doesn't love it. I think that's also why Cancer season is so hard for me because I'm
Yeah.
like, where's the container? What did you do for your birthday? Happy 40th.
Oh, thanks. I went kayaking with
Fierce in the
my
water.
son
Yeah,
and
you
my
had to be in the.
boyfriend.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
really
So
sweet.
the perfect.
Yeah.
It's a
It was very,
Cancer
very sweet.
fantasy.
We went kayaking and then we made an enormous feast.
Oh, honey, that
Yeah.
sounds like a dream.
It was really nice. It was a
Mother,
really nice day.
child, and man on the
Hmm.
water.
Yes. And Leah. Can't forget Leah.
Can't forget Leah.
Leah's always included.
Of course, she's your sister.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really nice. And then we had the intense, I'm like forgetting even July. Like July was so harried because I had finals and it was so much work and it was just like race, 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 race. And then it was my birthday. And yeah, I've just been super busy, but I have been fascinated by all of the water, like sewage
Mm.
Neptune,
Oh my God.
Pluto,
Totally.
like Uranus, conversations happening, like all of the water mains breaking in LA. I was like, this is crazy. I cannot. But it's like a perfect little uh manifestation of these energies, like Uranus, Neptune, water explosions. Pluto, like the sewer, creating like muck in like the groundwater, plus like the diarrhea explosions. I was like, what is going? This is very water. I wasn't imagining it being so water centric. Plus, we're back to the Strait of Hormuz being a mess. We're back to have you read about the cyber attacks on all of the water systems throughout the United States?
No, say more immediately.
So apparently there are wide, it's not to laugh about this, but there are widespread cyber attacks on water treatment facilities all over the United States. And they suspect that it's like Iranian backed like hackers, which who knows, but
Trying to like poison us with our own water supply?
basically, yes.
Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool,
Trying to
cool.
like basically, I guess the water treatment plants notoriously do not have very good security. So what they're doing is like hacking into the systems that manage, like I guess testing for chemicals and water cleanliness, right? So that systems go haywire and they don't know if like the water is clean.
What sign rules security systems?
I feel like
Scorpio?
water security, I would think Scorpio, I would think Capricorn for security as well, and I would think Aquarius.
Yeah. Okay, just a fun game I play with Angel sometimes. I'll just be like, what sign rules cheese? Three, two, one. Taurus! You know, we just play this game. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we disagree.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. I feel like everything that was set in motion in July is continuing to unfold
Yeah, for
for
sure.
like the rest of the next 2 years. So,
Correct.
we will see. Um, but yeah, August 2026, we are officially in eclipse season.
Boo. Actually, that's not true. And I generally am maybe a little more optimistic in my view of eclipses than you are. Uh, and I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday who is literally going on a family vacation to Spain to see the eclipse. And
Yeah.
and I just said to him, remember that what eclipses are trying to do is to push you back onto a path that you may have strayed from. And the degree of straying from that path is the degree of intensity that you will experience when these things happen. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to your life, if you are tending your soul, it's not that eclipses won't be intense, but they may not be as disruptive. They might be more affirming. They bring things in as well. Like they bring in blessings and chaos and intensity. Uh, so I was just trying to, I was trying to pour into him to gas him up before this trip. And I want to say the same to everybody that's listening. Eclipse season's super intense, but it's not out to get you. And I think that's an important reframe. Like it's not happening to you, it's happening for you, even if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel that way at the time.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of thinking about it. I actually have a sort of optimistic view of this first eclipse, and I don't know if that's because I'm going on vacation, so it's like
So you're like,
self-protective.
it has to be. It has to be good.
It has to be good. Um, but yeah, I guess I've just been thinking so much about this Jupiter South Node like connection that's
Mm-hmm.
brewing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really interested in it. I really feel like I don't have a good grasp on what it means and what it'll do. But I think, like to your point, um, I can't remember the exact words you use, but like bringing people back into alignment with their path
Yeah.
feels extremely on point for this.
Cosmic course corrector. That's how I
Yes.
think of the eclipse. It's a cosmic course corrector.
And I sort of think of the eclipses as sort of like the main plot points for the transits of the nodes. So for me, it's like this first eclipse is really important because it's the first eclipse in Leo. And we're going to have this as a story that plays out
Mm-hmm.
over, um, yeah, over many months, like 18 months ish.
Yep.
Might be even a little longer because I think there's an eclipse in Leo after the nodes leave the sign.
I
Um,
wouldn't be surprised. Has trouble getting off the stage.
and also the nodes just moved into Leo and Aquarius very like a week
Yeah,
ago-ish.
it is very interesting, right, that we would have an
Yeah.
eclipse so soon after their ingress into a new sign.
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
It's so dramatic. Look at
So
me. Look at
yeah,
me, mommy. Look at me.
yes, I have one of those, and I have a Jupiter in Leo child.
Wow. Okay, so
Hmm.
he's prepared you.
You know what he's doing during this eclipse? He's backpacking with his dad and grandpa, full wilderness, full no access to the outside world, no video games, no
Wow.
nothing. And he's done it before, but not for a couple of years, not since like, I don't know, this more adult or older kid version of himself. Like
He's how old? He's 12?
he is 11.
Okay, yeah, he's preparing for his first Jupiter return as well, yeah?
Yes.
Seems
First
like a young
Jupiter
adult.
return. Hmm.
I feel like
And like,
11 is so much older than it was when we were 11.
yeah, I don't know. I felt like real smart when I was 11, but
Of course you did. With your 28-degree Cancer moon.
and Saturn on my ascendant.
You're a
Um,
little adult.
but talk about a little ego check, right? Like having to like be this emerging, budding like self, and then all of the things that you're sort of attached to orienting your day, like your comforts, the things that you watch, like the games you play, the friends you see, like mom, like it's all sort of gone for a
Mm.
week. And
Mm-hmm.
this is sort of, I think, what a lot of times the eclipses are, is something much less dramatic than we're imagining and just like something going away for usually a brief period of time, like the disappearance of something we're used to. A lot of times, like people will get a surgery and have to go under anesthesia, or like, oh, I was supposed to be on a gig and the gig went away,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
sometimes it's a more dramatic or life-altering disappearance, of course, but usually it's not. Usually it's something minor that represents something deeper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's something is being eclipsed.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had a teacher who used to talk about eclipses from a more shamanic frame point, and she said, you have to understand that what's happening with the sun and the moon and the earth during an eclipse is so much larger than any human being. It is a cosmic ritual, and we are not even participants. We are just along for the ride. It's
Mm-hmm.
that big of an energy. And so I always think about it in that way. Like, it's going to do what it's going to do, and then you're going to integrate, clean up, pick up the pieces, but in the moment of it, it's too big for you to wield necessarily.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting to look at how the different spiritual traditions treat eclipses. Like the Vedic priests apparently go in the temple and shut all the doors until
Yeah, well, the
it's on.
indigenous Americans would not go outside. They were like,
Yeah.
do not get out under it or you will be eclipsed.
Yeah, you don't want the light of your soul to be dampened,
Right.
right?
Meanwhile, all like us Westerners are like chasing eclipses. We're like, where in the world do I have to go to put myself out under this destructive energy? We're so stupid. But
Yeah.
I've never been in, have you ever been in like a total solar eclipse? Have you ever had that experience?
I have not.
Same.
I remember the partial being able to see the eclipse partially in 2017.
Yeah, it was around that
Um,
time.
but I wouldn't like go out and do in the eclipse shadow anything. I don't think it's, for people that really want to see that, go for it. But it's not a choice I would make. But I do think there is a sort of Buddhist perspective as well, or at least Vajrayana perspective, which is means that eclipses are a really good time to do spiritual practices. They think it's like 10x the positive like karma or merit accumulation. Um, and so I think that's a nice like perspective to take. And I often think about like if you're doing a practice that involves any kind of surrender, or you're trying to change an aspect of yourself or let go of something that doesn't work for you anymore, offering it up during an eclipse is a pretty good thing to do. It's like, take it away, get rid of it for me.
Yeah, no, I think that's very wise and makes me think about what sort of spiritual practices I can do throughout the month to get those 10
Yeah.
times the karma points, please.
Um, yeah, so this month we're recording this a little late. It's August 6th, Thursday right now. And the first eclipse is the 12th, so middle of the week next week, Wednesday the 12th. Um, and then the second eclipse is on Thursday the 27th. And it really does seem like those are the two primary anchors for this month. Everything else seems to be sort of like swirling around, like building up to the eclipse, responding to the eclipse. The only other really, I think, potent and interesting configuration that's happening this month is well, actually, there's two. There's the Mars square to Saturn, and then Jupiter's trine to Saturn. So Saturn is also acting as some sort of anchor point this month. He's retrograding, um, and he's kind of like slowing something down, but then also collaborating on something hopefully positive with Jupiter. So this month is less chaotic in a certain way than last month, but it is, yeah, it's also extremely powerful. It feels like, um, it actually feels to me like a clarifying month a little bit, at least the first part. Um, so yeah, I
I agree
guess,
with that. It feels a little more streamlined, but more intense.
yeah,
Like,
it's,
if you have all these different chaos energies, they're disparate. So, like, it's a bunch of little fires, which create a mess for you, but they're
mm-hmm,
little, they're all over the place, they're diffuse. This
mm-hmm,
feels like we are gathering all that power in one single channel. So it is clarifying and it's going to show you where your attention is best served, but you won't be able to look away. There's no
right,
distraction from it.
right. Yeah, so today starts, so Thursday the 6th, we're starting with an energy shift, which is Venus moving into Libra, right?
We're so close. Oh, we're so close. And the moon's in Taurus today. I'm like, we get it'll be a nice evening.
Do you know what time Venus moves?
No, I don't. I know she's at 29:56 right now. So I have to assume in the next couple hours.
Libra. Okay, so, oh, hello. Really soon.
Yeah, right?
12 p.m.
We're almost there. And then we'll have like almost, 14 hours of Taurus moon still answering to that Venus and Libra.
Oh my gosh, there's some child knocking on my door. One second.
That sounds like Leo season.
So my child is playing D&D right now, and uh, he has a campaign that started recently, which are him being the dungeon master for like this group of seventh and eighth grade boys, which I think is hilarious because Avi is like in sixth grade, he's younger than all of them. And I just walked past their conversation right before we started recording, and Avi is sitting at the table going, I can't remember, what did he say? He goes, I hate to break it to you guys, but you are in no way ready to fight a dragon.
This is so good. This is so good. I hate to break it to you guys, but you are in no way ready to fight a dragon, which actually feels like our warning for eclipse season because
Yes.
Because aren't the nodes the head and the tail of the dragon?
Yes, they are.
So, thank you, Avi. Don't fight the eclipse, babies. You're gonna lose.
Do not fight the eclipse. Yeah, that's the
Partner
one thing
with
you
it,
definitely can't do.
ally with it.
Um, right. So where were we? Venus and Libra. Okay, I do have some bad news about Venus and Libra though.
Uh oh. Oh, God.
She's gonna retrograde in Libra. So this is technically the beginning of the retrograde. Like it's like the shadow, the hints starting up.
Listen, if you have to walk backwards, walking backwards in the sign of your exaltation is not the worst thing to happen.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm not afraid of this. Honestly,
Yeah.
you know, personally, I have been dealing with a lot of friend issues in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder
Mm-hmm.
if that is a whisper of the Venus in Libra retrograde, some new partnering that has to happen for me.
Yeah, well, it's like Venus retrograding from Scorpio to Libra, which I always think is interesting because like Scorpio is her exile and Venus and Libra is her, like you said, like uh d
Not exaltation, it's her
yeah,
domicile.
domicile.
Be a good
So
astrologer, Brandon.
no,
Jesus.
it's okay. I mix up those all the time. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting retrograde because it's like the retrograde is already the underworld journey, but I kind of think Scorpio is the most like associated sign with the underworld. So it's like very much the underworld queen taking over and bringing the underworld queen back to her domicile of Libra, where Libra tends to usually reject that underworld like persona. So,
I don't know. Sounds pretty sexy to me. I'm here for it.
but we don't have to worry about that yet.
We
Right now,
don't.
we'll just pretend like everything is good.
We have
And
to worry about the dissolution of our ego with this solar
yes.
eclipse in Leo.
So Venus transiting into Libra midday today sets the scene. And what's happening, what happens next? Okay, and then Mercury moves into Leo on the 9th, Sunday the 9th. So we're getting two quicker moving planets changing signs. Um, and Leo is where the sun is. It's going to be the site of the solar eclipse. Um, and leading up to the solar eclipse, we have this sort of like building up of tension, both with Venus and Mercury. So on the 10th, 2 days before the eclipse, Venus is going to trine Pluto. She's going to oppose Neptune. On the 11th, Mercury is going to oppose Neptune. Mercury is going to oppose Pluto and trine Neptune, and then Venus is going to trine Uranus. So, sort of like all of that noise from last month, the outer planets changing their shape, Venus and Mercury have to sort of move through that gauntlet of outer planets. They're going to get sort of energized, right? Pluto, the fear, Neptune, the dream, Uranus, the energy, right? It's almost like they're getting charged up. And then the solar eclipse hits in Leo. Jupiter and Mercury will both be in the sign of the eclipse. The solar eclipse happens at, let's see, I think it's 20 degrees, but I'm going to pull it up so we can see it.
Oh, this astrology is so crazy when you look at it spelled out because it's like everything is setting the stage. Even that Mars moving into Cancer the day before the
Hmm.
eclipse, so then it is answering to the eclipse, right? Like even Mars is under its spell.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got Jupiter, Mercury directly in Leo, and then Mars answering to the moon, which is the major participant in the eclipse, the moon and the sun. So th in this case, it's the moon covering up the light of the sun.
Right?
Um, and the outer planets all positioned to kind of contribute their energy, right? Contribute this story, which is everything feels like it's changing. The change is a little bit scary and a little bit exciting and very confusing. And so, what does Leo have to do with it all? Leo is like, what is my place in all of this?
Mm.
What does it mean for me? What's my role? What do I have like authority over? What's my particular realm of authority? Where do I get to extend myself? What do I get to feel? Right?
So interesting, right? Because we think of Leo as a sign of royalty. So I love the word
Hmm.
realm because it's like, all right, you're royalty, right? You're a king, you're a queen. What are you ruling over?
Hmm.
What sort of rule exists in your empire? What's within your domain? What's outside of it? Where have you abdicated your throne? And then I'm curious, like, does the eclipse show you your realm? Or does the eclipse take your realm from you? And now you're royalty thrust into the wilderness. Who are you
Hmm.
then? Like,
Hmm.
are you still regal when you are no longer within the kingdom? I don't have answers, I just have questions. But these are the
Well,
sorts of questions that I think will be illuminated by that eclipse next week.
absolutely. And I think that all of those questions are relevant and that it could go in either direction or both directions for most people because absolutely, like, this is an eclipse of consolidating power and losing power.
Well, especially consolidating in the sense that I'm looking at this chart you've pulled up, and every single planet is involved. There's not a single planet that is not in some way connected to this eclipse,
Hmm.
right? Am I missing something?
So it's Mercury, if we're considering Mercury and Jupiter as inherently connected because they're in the sign, which I think is correct, then yeah,
Yes.
Mercury's talking to Venus. Jupiter is still in an opposition to Pluto. He's separating, Mercury's applying to Pluto. The whole eclipse is trining Saturn and Neptune. Um, yeah, it's everyone's involved.
Uranus is making that sextile to Mercury. Mars is answering to the moon. It's like everybody was invited to the party and everybody had no choice but to show up.
Hmm.
It's almost like a jury summons.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's interesting though because consolidation is one of the key sort of themes for consolidation of power is a key theme for Leo, eclipses in Leo. Like we get these really dramatic historical rises of dictators, of autocrats, of like sort of consolidating swaths of territory, right? But what's interesting about this eclipse is that it's all on the South Node. So the South Node has a pretty strong association with loss. It's a tail of the dragon. It's like the dematerializing force of the nodes, right? It's where we sort of give up our connections to the material realm in order to attain deeper authenticity and more spiritual power. Um, and I think that that is going to have a couple of different effects. One is that this eclipse is actually really good for values realignment, for trying to cut out the fat, like check your ego, um, recognize places where you have inappropriately overextended and to come back to yourself and to what really matters, right? And that could
Mm.
even look like I am so attached to being this person in the world, to being successful, to having this career, to having this business, to having, to looking a certain way, to having this relationship that I've lost a part of who I really am. And I have to come back to that by letting go of something else.
I'm
But if
feeling
this,
very attacked right now. How dare you? How very dare you?
say more.
Nope, that's it.
But if this eclipse is used for the inappropriate consolidation of power, which I think it will be, right? In many spheres, it is likely to be to a very malefic effect down the
Mm,
line.
hmm.
Like there isn't any real, like, I shouldn't say any, but the South Node can be very, very disastrous. Like when the South Node gets triggered, it can represent like slaughter, like extreme violent loss, right? So this is the kind of consolidation of power that could lead to extreme loss. So that's that can absolutely happen in the collective, but in our own lives, we probably should be thinking about this as a coming back to the core, right? Not that you can't have the career, or you can't have the success or anything like that, but it needs to be aligned with who you are and what you value, or else you might not be able to keep it.
Yeah. Can I invite the tarot in?
Yes.
So, Leo is connected to the strength card. And the strength card comes up for us when we are encouraged to resource the courage necessary to face our true heart. The strength card comes at the eighth place in the major arcana after we've been like out in the world. We've figured out who we're supposed to be in society. We've made choices of individuation so that we have an ego and we have a will. That's the chariot. The card that comes right before is like this right use, ideally, of your will, of asserting yourself, of achievement. And then the
Hmm.
strength card shows up to whisper, but isn't there more to life than this? Like once you've won the award or, gotten the thing, what else is there? And so the card itself is a woman prying open the jaws of a lion fearlessly, very
Mm-hmm.
kind of calm, and looking into the mouth of the lion, which is our calm, courageous grace to look into the own jaws of our hunger and see what lurks beneath that and underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just to take it like one step further, so that's the beginning of the second line of the tarot. The tarot has three lines. And the second line of the tarot is essentially the death line. It's where we're disassembling everything we built in our early stages to have access and freedom in the world as it exists. The last card in that second line is Temperance, which is connected to Sagittarius, another fire sign. And Temperance is the understanding of who is wearing the mask that was
Mm-hmm.
created in the chariot.
Mm-hmm.
And remembering that you are not the mask, you fashioned it and you wear it with will or at will, but do not confuse the mask for your true nature. Your true nature is so much bigger than any label or category or assertion of your identity. So all these
Mm-hmm.
themes feel really ripe with this eclipse and what you're talking about. Like, have you confused your ego for your soul? Have you
Mm-hmm.
confused your achievements for your value?
Yeah.
And if you have, what sort of eclipse can you create to get back on track so you pour your resources into the things that actually matter and not the things that are just continuing to adhere the mask to your soul more securely?
Right. And the mask isn't inherently wrong, right? Like
No, 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 no. It's a
it's
tool. We
not
need it.
exactly. And I am so with you on all of this because I've been really trying to conceptualize Leo more cleanly in my mind. And I've been talking through it with clients like for the last 2 weeks. And I I really understand Leo as the throne of the king, right? Like it is the sun's territory. So what we do in Leo is access the resources for this sort of game of self-expression that we play to try to understand who we are, right? The sun I think exists on this like very vast spectrum. And the outer corona or the outer spectrum is like the ego, the self, the understanding of who we are on the outside. And as we engage with the spectrum of the sun and the sun's light, we can go deeper into ourselves. We can unearth like more authentic ways of being. We can, understand ourselves differently at deeper levels. If we follow that spectrum, we're going to get all the way to the big soul, right? To the dissolution of the self or the dissolution of the ego. And, most of us aren't Buddhas, so we probably won't get all the way there in this lifetime, and that's okay. But within Leo exists like this outer ego, and within the sun exists this outer ego and the deepest part of our soul in which the self goes away, right?
Mm.
We become part of something much bigger. And I think of Leo as the territory where we explore this, right? And so masks are really strongly associated with Leo. Performance is strongly associated with Leo because we have to play a role in order to interact with the world, get that response from the world, and sort of sift through that response for information about who we want to be, who we are, right? And we have to have the freedom then to like chuck that mask, try on a different one because, hey, like I kind of liked some of that, but I didn't like all of it and I want to adjust it. Like that freedom is our birthright to a certain extent. Like we need to be able to express and to play and to wear different masks because that's part of the game of figuring out who we really are and going deeper, right? And so I think when we get an eclipse like this in Leo, part of the message is exactly as you were saying. Some aspect of the mask you're wearing needs to be discarded. And also, by the way, we need to remember that all this whole performance is just a game, it's just a play. Actually, who you are is a being who gets to exist, right?
Mm.
You get to sit by the fire of your own soul and be warmed by it, and you actually don't have to play any role. You actually don't have to do anything. You don't have to prove your worth. You just get to be here.
Yeah, this is such a great conversation, and I appreciate everything you just said. And so does my future self listening to this podcast, driving down to San Diego on the day of the eclipse next Wednesday. Um, the idea of performing the self, and then how addicting that becomes when
Mhm.
you create a performance that people respond positively to, and then you are stuck in the rigidity of that performance. I mean, that
Mhm.
is why fame, celebrity, which I think is also ruled by Leo, can become such a trap and become so damaging
Mhm. Yeah.
because you have more and more people who are dependent on your consistent performance of your identity, even though we know identity is fluid, it changes.
I think it's one of the inherent contradictions in Leo, right? Leo is the fixed fire. Leo is like the fixed fire of the soul, of the heart. Like it is the beingness that we all share, right? But it's also where we do the play of identity, the play of like expressing who we are. And that part can't really be fixed, but it feels like it should be,
Yeah.
right? And that's why Leo can become such a difficult sign to reckon with because when the identity does get fixed, that fire can become dangerous, right? You burn yourself with it, you burn others with it, you become autocratic, you become like, um,
Codified.
yeah.
Well, and I'm noticing now in a more helpful way this applying sextile between Uranus and Mercury that perfects right after the eclipse. And
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about, I believe on this podcast, like Uranus and Gemini disrupting the binary to create multiplicity
Mm-hmm.
and the multiplicity of identity. We try on all these masks because we
Mm-hmm.
realize there's a little bit that's true in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Uranus and the Mercury coming together as the eclipse goes boom, kind of helps us to see, yes, there is something true in all of these masks I wear, but the mask itself is never true.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's totally
That's
spot
so
on.
helpful. That's actually so helpful for me. Here, I'll share personally. So I did not plan it this way because sometimes I don't schedule everything I do with astrology. But I am driving down to San Diego on the day of the eclipse to go to the theater with my grandmother, who is a Leo.
Oh,
And
that's
when
very
I am,
cute.
it's cute, but you haven't met my grandmother, so it can be annihilating.
Uh-huh.
And who I am in the presence of family is not always who I am in the presence of friends or when I'm teaching, because the role that I play within my family is a bit of a mask. It's a performance of self that people have grown accustomed, addicted, and reliant upon.
Hmm.
And I can be very hard on myself and be like, Brandon, why haven't you evolved beyond this? Why do you still, as a 41-year-old human being in the world, fall back into this role? But
Hmm.
what's important for me to remember, based on what I just said, is that there's something true in that mask. It's not all a lie, it's not all a regression. There's a part of that that is real and connected to my soul, connected to that fixed fire of my being. And maybe just pay attention to what that is and dial up what is true in the mask and
Hmm.
try to stay away from the rest of it.
Absolutely. And this journey that we often kind of talk about in spiritual circles, to like to our deeper self or to our most authentic beingness or however you want to say it, like it's not linear,
Mm-mm.
right?
Mm-mm.
And at every stage, this is something I really appreciate learning from Tess. Like Tess is a really like important part of her teaching. Every stage of the spiritual journey is important, right?
Mm.
Like even if you necessarily have to leave each stage behind to like move into a different phase with a different goal. And you might look back on the earlier phases and feel like, oh, cringe, why was I doing that or saying that? Like it's something in each stage has a seed of the motivation that gets you to the next stage. So it's never about judging yourself. It's about like exactly to your point, recognizing what was true, what was useful, what was motivating about each performance, each mask, each stage,
Yeah.
and like what you want to do next. Like, so much about this should be related to our own agency, right? So
Mm.
in Leo, we get to come in contact with what we have authority over, which largely is ourself, what we choose to do. And I like to think of that fire of the heart, that like fixed fire of Leo in like my internal meditations. I see it like as a multicolored, like almost like iridescent rainbow fire that's
Mm-hmm.
shaped like a lotus.
Mm.
And I like to think of it as like a fire that contains every human quality, right? And I get to in my personal practice, like this fire is kept by Shiva, right? Because Shiva is my Ishadavada. And I go to that fire and I say, like, I am done with this trait for now. Can I
Mm.
put it back in the fire and can I get like some courage and some focus, you know?
Oh,
And I think that we have to have a lot of grace for ourselves and approach it, conceptualize astrology with as much agency as possible because that's how we make it useful to us.
100%.
So, like I started with, I have a lot of optimism for this eclipse because it has to be good because I'm on vacation. So,
Okay.
and my
I,
son is in the wilderness. So,
yeah, it's
it's
going to be
got to be
fun.
good.
I would like to introduce into this conversation Madonna. I think it's important
Okay.
if you're having a conversation about Leo that you mention Madonna.
Bring her in.
So, Madonna is one of the most Leo of Leos, and she has recently released a new album which is actually a sequel to her very successful Confessions on a Dance Floor album that was about 20 years ago, if you can believe it. And it has done very well. People are loving it. It's a really good album. I would like to read some lyrics if I can, because
Yes.
I think it's very Leo, but it's also very Leo Aquarius. And I think Madonna is somebody who has had a journey, who has done good and done bad, and yet here she is at 67 releasing a dance album that has actually like captured the zeitgeist in some sort of way. So I do think everyone should be listening to this album. But the album opens and she says, "Thanks for coming. Sometimes I like to just hide in the shadows, create a new persona, a different identity. I can be whoever I want to be, create a new persona. Honestly, I wish I could be like other people and just not care. But out here on the dance floor, I feel so free."
Hmm. Dance for eclipse.
There you go.
Yeah. Be like Madonna, everybody.
There you go.
You
And
get
then
to
we
choose.
and then we move into Virgo and we get a very different flavor of eclipse.
Yeah, dude. The Virgo, that one I'm less
So,
optimistic about. I don't know.
yeah,
I
no joke.
mean, there's less, this is less new. This is an older story. So I feel like there's some uh context for this eclipse. And I have some hope for it being kind of like the end of the Virgo Pisces eclipse story. Like there's a sense of like whatever it is we've seen before and it's getting closed out. That's my optimistic take. But it looks quite tense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the first thing to note is that we kind of we mentioned it, but didn't talk about it very much. On August 11th, Mars moves into Cancer, which technically means he's going to start squaring Saturn. Now, Mars's last aspect before he starts to square Saturn is on the 17th when he squares Neptune. So my sense is that the Mars Saturn square won't really start to kick in and feel terribly grinding until like the 18th or 19th. But Mars Saturn is very much, especially in the square position, that driving with the parking brake on, right?
Mm.
So
Ugh.
we switch from this like deep exploration of the soul, Leo season, into Virgo season hits on the 22nd with an opposition from Venus to Saturn, and then Mars and Saturn start locking into their square. So it's sort of like everything's like we're getting back to work. This is school starting, right? This is like the responsibility flooding back in, and there just being a lot of feelings about it. Like Mars in Cancer can already feel a little bit like weighed down. Like Mars is fighting the tide, like trying to get out to sea. This feels a little bit like people, it's very the Odyssey. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like the endless fucking rowing, like trying to battle the sea. Like it
I
feels,
haven't seen it yet. I didn't want to wake up at 7 in the morning to go and see a movie, so I'll see it at some
yeah,
point.
it is a lot of being at sea. And this is a little bit what Mars and Cancer feels to me this year.
A lot of being at
A lot
sea.
of being at sea. Like, I can't even get past the fucking break, what the fuck? So, the last 2 weeks of August, they're not cozy.
I mean, listen, that weekend especially, like the Venus opposing Saturn, leading us into Virgo season, and then that Mars Saturn square getting real close. It feels like an opportunity for some real adulting,
Yeah.
which is
No,
nobody's favorite thing to do, but there is a power that comes when you remember that you can do hard things and you can lift heavy weights.
yeah.
It
Maybe the person
returns
you decided to be during the Leo eclipse is a
right.
bodybuilder.
Well, right. there's like a sovereignty. You're like, okay, this is my authenticity, and when I'm standing in my authenticity, I can lift heavy things. I'm just aware that this always sits on my kitchen table, but it feels very important right now,
Oh,
which is this little
hi.
lion figure.
Hi,
And
lion friend.
look at all the rainbow lights. It's your meditation right here. His mane is rainbow colored.
Aw, I love him.
I don't even know where he came from, but I'm grateful he's here.
He is a perfect inspiration for this month, but not for the end of the month. Leo.
No, indeed no.
Um, you know, okay. So Virgo actually is really important to this year ahead. The Virgo Leo cusp is something that is like heavily focused on in 2026 and 2027. Mars is going to retrograde in Virgo and Leo next winter, and it's going to start in the fall. So we actually should be paying attention to this transition from Leo to Virgo. What the hell is here? Because we're going to spend about 7 months with Mars fixated on it, working on it. And it's going to mix up the South Node. It's going to mix up with Jupiter. That whole, if things are not in align, if your goals are not in alignment, you're not going to be able to keep them. That is very, very heavy for the rest of 2026 and early 2027. So both the eclipse in Leo and the transition into Virgo season are resonant for a long time. So this month kind of opens up a new body of work that gets highlighted for until next spring. So I'm not saying that because I understand what it means or I have like a bunch of content to sort of articulate around it, but I do think we should pay attention to what comes up as the sun moves across this corridor from Leo to Virgo.
What are the degrees? Are there like specific degrees that are
Of the Mars
activated here?
retrograde, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like 10 degrees of Virgo to 20 degrees of Leo,
Oh,
approximately.
wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And where's this eclipse happening? What degree?
I'm gonna pull it up, but I think it's like 29, maybe. Hang on. Where are
Well,
you?
I was just thinking about the Leo eclipse too, right? Like,
Oh, the Leo eclipse is 20 degrees. So that's actually where Mars stations.
that's the threshold of the shadow.
Threshold of the Shadow, fascinating. I didn't even put that together. And then the next
It's
uh
also a great like EP title, Threshold of the Shadow.
it is
Isn't Avi in
2026.
a band? You can give it to him.
He is in many bands that
Love
don't
that.
really play
Exist? Oh, that don't
yet.
play.
They have many bands in his mind.
Well,
Um,
great. That's where everything starts.
okay, so the Pisces eclipse is at 4 degrees of Pisces, and the
Virgo.
sun,
Okay.
yeah, so the lunar eclipse at the end of this month is 4 degrees of Pisces, but the sun is at 4 degrees of Virgo,
What
which
the
is going to be the
fuck is
Mars.
up with 4 degrees, man? It's just, you can't get away from it. Remember, like
Yeah, that was crazy.
those outer planets that Angel dubbed the triple threat, all like in conversation with each other at 4 degrees? And 4 degrees is the Cancer degree as well, which I think is interesting.
The Cancer degree? Say more.
So there's a school of astrology that associates a sign to every degree. And
Mm.
so one is Aries, two is Taurus, three is Gemini, and four is
Ah,
Cancer, and so on and so forth. Zero is like the Fool card. It contains infinite potential for
yeah,
all
yeah.
signs. And so I sometimes will just think of that as like a third layer of like what's going on here. If we're at the Cancer degree of a sign, what are we being asked to like hold close to the chest or feel more deeply or protect to some extent, some of those Cancerian themes.
Yeah, there's a lot of 4 degrees going on here. Um, and the lead up to this eclipse feels very like I said, grinding because of the Saturn Mars square. But also fascinating that there is a cazimi the same day of as the eclipse. So Mercury moves into Virgo on the 25th, and then the eclipse is on the 27th, the same day as the Mercury cazimi. So we got a really strong Mercury, but then we have Mercury combust, and then Mercury tightly, tightly configured to the eclipse. So this feels to me very much like um, the surrender of rationality to something deeper. Like Mercury in a Virgo wants to be really organized, really on top of it, like really rational, moving through everything piece by piece in this orderly manner. And like that's just not going to be accessible this week. And it's going to be a week when we feel like there's a lot of pressure on us already. So this eclipse feels like um, having to move through a tense moment without our rational brain necessarily feeling like super intact.
Yes, yes. I'm trying to connect the dots here. Cancer also asks us to feel at home. So
Hmm.
4 degrees is saying, can you find a way to feel at home in this, whatever this is? Can
Mm-hmm.
you feel at home in the midst of this eclipse storm when your certainty and your control and your order and your powers of analytical exploration have been wrested from you? Can you feel at home in the process?
Yeah.
And I think that is, or not can you can. How will you? You know, how will you make yourself feel at home when there is no conclusion to be had at the moment?
I think part of feeling at home in this is going to be making contact with like your reason, right? So
Mm.
like I think this is going to feel like an extraordinarily overwhelming week. And I think there's going to be a sense of like, why the fuck am I doing this? Why did I start this? Why am I here? Why did I take this shit on? Like, this is stupid. I don't want to do it. Like, delete, 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 delete. Like, I don't like backspace. Like, this was a terrible idea. But it wasn't a terrible idea. It's just a storm. You just have to get through it. And what you have to do is connect to the deeper reason you started something and trust that, like, it's going to continue to unfold at its own pace. And it doesn't have to all make sense or fit right now.
Just taking some deep breaths. When we teach astrology, we talk about the Virgo Pisces axis as the axis of body and soul.
Mm-hmm.
And breath is a really good way to connect the two of them. So we'll do a lot of deep breathing at the end of August as we move through this eclipse.
Deep breathing and patience
Mm-hmm.
and trust and
And there's a little
courage.
gift on the 31st.
Mm-hmm. Jupiter trine Saturn.
So,
Yeah. It's interesting that Jupiter trines Saturn on the 31st, and then on the 1st of the 1st of Virgo, the 1st of September, we get the Saturn Mars square, which is good news because usually it all starts to break up as soon as they like pass up the square. So really the actual square is like the end, right, of the feeling. So um, something this is this beginning of September is gonna highlight whatever Saturn's been working on. Like Aries, even though Aries isn't like super present in it doesn't feel as obviously present in this month, it's really important because it all is building up to this collaboration between Jupiter and Saturn, and then the tension between Mars and Saturn. So we keep coming back to Aries as like one of the central focal points of this year. What are you developing in Aries? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to connect to? You might feel like a little bit of an exhausting win, right? Like
Mm.
you might be tired, you might feel like overwhelmed, but if you can connect to the sense of purpose, the deeper meaning, I think this moment could also feel like, okay, we're here. Like we did something and it was hard, but we got through it and we're gonna keep going.
And we will get through it. And we will keep going. And we will be back here next month with
Next
stories
month.
to share.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you, Christina.
Do you want to remind everybody where they can find you?
Yes, so the Spiritual Gaze, GAYZ, there's a podcast. We offer readings and healings. I'm also getting ready to teach my first basic workshop for the Foundation for Shamanic Studies up here in Los Angeles.
Ooh.
It'll be a weekend workshop that is the prerequisite for any other workshops you would want to take with the Foundation for Shamanic Studies. I've recently been accepted as guest faculty. So that is something that will be announced with more details soon. But if you sign up for the Spiritual Gaze newsletters or things through the website, you'll be kept abreast of that. And this is like part of my Saturn in Aries in the first house journey, which is like stepping into my authority as a teacher of shamanic practice and getting excited to share these things. So that's what's happening with me.
That's very exciting. Congratulations. Best of
Thank
luck with
you.
that.
Thank you.
Teresa and I are going to teach our first public workshop in collaboration with our friend Paige. It's going to be in Seattle on October 18th. So I'm also going to be sending out some information with this podcast on that workshop. And we're going to do it in other places as well. The workshop is going to be about your relationship to Pluto, and Tess is going to give the transmission and empowerment for a Pluto practice that she developed. So, yeah,
Cool.
it's something brand new. It is um the beginning of something I've always dreamed of doing, which is having tangible remediation tools
Love it.
through my practice that are about actually changing and um, having some agency in our relationship to these forces and sort of understanding them on a deeper level and trying to work with them to make our life better. So.
Well, maybe I'll see you in Seattle.
That would be so fun.
I've never
Okay,
been.
well, thank you for everything today, and I will see you next
See
month.
you next month. Happy eclipse season, everybody.
Happy eclipse season.